Right, forget everything you think you know about stadium expansions in English football. While everyone's been banging on about Everton's new ground and Manchester United's Old Trafford plans, something absolutely massive has been happening under the radar at Nottingham Forest. Evangelos Marinakis has just committed an initial £130 million of his own money to transform a riverside stadium that's been there since 1898 into a 52,500-seat colossus. To put that in perspective, that's larger than Chelsea's Stamford Bridge and would even surpass the capacity of Newcastle's St James's Park. And here's the mad bit, the new Peter Taylor stand will be so tall that it will become a permanent landmark visible from across the entire city. With the final planning documents officially dropped in January 2026 and construction slated to begin this summer, the sleeping giant of the East Midlands is finally waking up. This is Nottingham Forest's city ground transformation, and what I'm about to reveal will blow your mind. If you're into stadium projects and proper football history, you're in the right place. Smash that subscribe button because we're covering the most ambitious ground developments across English football. Now here's why this story is absolutely massive. 3 years ago, Forest were playing second-tier football in the Championship. Today, they're competing in the UEFA Europa League after a brilliant 2024-25 campaign that saw them finish in European qualification spots. They've gone from relegation battlers to continental competitors in the space of 2 seasons, and their stadium situation has become properly desperate. Every single home match sells out completely. They've got 20,000 season ticket holders and another 10,000 to 12,000 supporters stuck on a waiting list that could take years to clear. Thousands of loyal fans are locked out every fortnight, unable to get tickets despite Forest being back amongst Europe's elite. Owner Evangelos Marinakis, the Greek shipping billionaire who also owns Olympiakos, looked at this situation and said enough is enough. In early January 2026, Forest submitted planning applications to Rushcliffe Borough Council that completely supersede everything that came before. This isn't the 35,000-seat plan approved back in June 2025. This is a full-scale reimagining of one of England's most historic football grounds. Let me walk you through exactly what's happening. Before we dive into the new plans, you need to understand the absolute journey Forest have been on to get here. Back in 2019, when they were still mucking about in the Championship, they unveiled plans with Benoit Architects to rebuild the Peter Taylor stand and take capacity up to around 38,000. Cost estimate was £94 million, and they were planning to build 170 flats alongside the stadium to help fund the whole thing. Then COVID absolutely battered those plans. Construction costs went mental, property values in Nottingham didn't keep pace, and suddenly the residential scheme made no financial sense whatsoever. But that wasn't even the biggest headache. The city ground sits on land owned by Nottingham City Council, meaning Forest were essentially tenants in their own home. When they got promoted to the Premier League in 2022, the council turned around and tried to whack the annual rent up from £250,000 to £1 million. Marinakis wasn't having it. He actually threatened to move the club to Toton and build a brand new 50,000-seat stadium from scratch. Forest fans were going spare, even chanting anti-Toton songs during matches. Finally, in July 2024, breakthrough. The council agreed in principle to sell the freehold to Forest for around £10 million, though the actual price hasn't been publicly disclosed. But here's the clever bit. Forest made the purchase conditional on getting proper planning permission for a mega expansion, not just the modest plans that existed at the time. They wanted assurances they could build something truly special before committing to buy the land. Fast forward to June 2025, and Rushcliffe Borough Council approved a revised scheme for 35,000 capacity, focused on rebuilding the Peter Taylor stand. But by October 2025, word started leaking that Forest had gone back to the drawing board yet again. They were now talking about 43,000 to 45,000 seats. Then in December 2025, they held stakeholder events showing renderings for a 52,500 capacity stadium, properly ambitious stuff, and on 5 January 2026, they formally submitted the planning applications. The total investment package is now £130 million for the initial phases, personally underwritten by Marinakis, making this one of the biggest privately funded stadium projects outside the traditional Big Six clubs. Right, let's talk about the absolute beast at the heart of this project, the Peter Taylor stand, named after Brian Clough's legendary assistant manager, has been there since 1965. It currently holds just 5,000 supporters, has pillars blocking views, a low roof that barely covers the back rows, and facilities that honestly belong in a museum. It's charming in that old-school way, but it's completely inadequate for a club competing in Europe. The new stand? Absolutely gigantic. It's a 4-level structure with a roofline reaching 58 meters high. It'll hold around 15,000 supporters across 3 massive tiers, tripling the current capacity. That's 1,500 more seats than Chelsea's Matthew Harding stand at Stamford Bridge. The specifications are properly impressive. The stand features a steel frame superstructure built on a reinforced concrete podium with precast terracing and modern seating decks throughout. External materials include red cladding as a tribute to Forest's famous colours, curtain wall glazing, and masonry panels referencing Nottingham's historic sandstone architecture. The continuous red roof is designed to eventually wrap around the entire stadium in future phases, creating that proper enclosed bowl atmosphere that amplifies noise and intimidates visiting teams. But it's not just about seats. Over 5,500 hospitality spaces are planned across all the redeveloped areas, with year-round conference and event facilities built in. You've got state-of-the-art player facilities, including new dressing rooms and medical areas, plus a club museum celebrating those back-to-back European Cup wins in 1979 and 1980. This is how you build a modern football stadium whilst respecting 127 years of history. The Peter Taylor stand is just phase 1 of something much bigger. Forest submitted 2 linked planning applications to Rushcliffe Borough Council in December 2025. The first is a full planning application covering the demolition and complete rebuild of the Peter Taylor stand, plus the infilling of corners adjacent to the Trent End. These corner infills alone add roughly 5,000 seats and are absolutely crucial for atmosphere. Right now, the city ground has open corners that let noise escape and create that traditional airy feel. Once you fill those corners in, the acoustics transform completely. Sound bounces around the enclosed bowl, amplifying chants and creating a proper cauldron of noise. The second application is an outline submission for the Brian Clough stand, which runs along one side of the pitch. This stand was built in 1980 to celebrate Forest's first European Cup and currently holds the main TV gantry and hospitality boxes. The outline application establishes the principle, scale, and access arrangements for a future rebuild that could add up to 7,500 seats. Detailed design will come later through reserved matters applications, but the indicative plans show a 2-tier structure with extensive mid-level hospitality that would complete the stadium's transformation into a full wraparound bowl. Now, here's the phased timeline as submitted. If planning permission is granted in early to mid-2026, construction on the Peter Taylor stand and Trent End corners is projected to begin following the current season. The genius of the construction approach is that Forest stay put throughout. They're building over the existing stand to maintain capacity during works, meaning no matches get relocated to Villa Park or the King Power. Phase 1 completion is targeted for the start of the 2030-31 season, delivering a 45,000 capacity stadium. The Brian Clough stand follows in a later phase, with full 52,500-seat completion targeted for the 2033-34 season. The plans also include major public realm improvements along the riverside, opening up areas currently inaccessible to the public and enhancing the Trent Valley Way footpath and cycle route. New plazas and gathering spaces will be created for year-round use, not just match days, supporting the wider Trent Sports Quarter vision that includes Trent Bridge Cricket Ground nearby. This project has faced absolutely everything you can imagine: COVID delays, rent disputes with the council, environmental assessments, flooding concerns because of the riverside location, and financial viability issues with the original funding model. But one of the biggest hurdles has been the Nottingham Rowing Club. The current boathouses used by Nottingham Rowing Club sit directly behind the Peter Taylor stand and must be demolished. Forest are required to relocate the rowing facilities to an alternative site before certain construction phases can begin, and the rowing club is apparently supportive of the proposals. Then there's the financial reality. Remember those 170 residential apartments Forest originally planned to build? Property consultant Savills took one look at Nottingham's housing market and construction costs and basically said forget it. The maths didn't add up. Construction cost inflation had far outpaced sales values in the area. So Marinakis made the call to absorb the entire deficit himself. He's personally pledged £130 million towards the first phase, describing it as a significant investment aimed at creating a sustainable and iconic stadium. That's genuine commitment from an owner who could easily have scaled back the ambition or walked away entirely. Infrastructure contributions are substantial as well. Forest are contributing over £1 million for enhanced bus services to handle increased matchday crowds, £150,000 for road junction upgrades around the stadium, and £200,000 for cycling infrastructure improvements. There's also the £1.2 million required to relocate the rowing club. Total local infrastructure investment exceeds £2.5 million, showing Forest's commitment to being proper neighbours and supporting the broader regeneration of Nottingham's riverside area. The freehold purchase still hasn't formally completed as of January 2026. Forest made it conditional on securing comprehensive planning permissions for this mega expansion, and they're waiting for Rushcliffe Borough Council's decision before finalising the land purchase. It's a smart move that protects their investment and ensures they control their own destiny. So, why does this project matter beyond just adding more seats? 3 massive reasons. First, matchday demand is absolutely mental. Forest's return to the Premier League and qualification for European competition has created ticket demand they simply cannot meet. 20,000 season ticket holders, another 10,000 to 12,000 on waiting lists, and every home match completely sold out. The expansion directly addresses this, allowing tens of thousands more fans to experience European nights at the City Ground. Second, financial sustainability in modern football. The 5,500 hospitality seats represent enormous revenue potential. Year-round conference facilities mean income 365 days a year, not just 19 Premier League match days. Enhanced matchday experience justifies premium pricing, better food and beverage revenues, improved commercial partnerships. Financial experts reckon the expanded stadium could generate tens of millions more in annual matchday revenue compared to now, and that money gets reinvested into the squad, academy, and infrastructure. Third, regional economic impact. Economic assessments suggest the project could contribute approximately £13 million annually to Nottingham's local economy. Job creation during construction, permanent matchday employment, and the multiplier effect of 52,000 supporters visiting local pubs, restaurants, and shops on match days. This is the centrepiece of the Trent Sports Quarter vision that's meant to regenerate the entire riverside area. And let's be honest, this is Nottingham Forest we're talking about, a club that won back-to-back European Cups in 1979 and 1980, achievements that rank among the greatest in English football history. Only Liverpool, Manchester United, Chelsea and Aston Villa have won Europe's top prize amongst English clubs, and Forest did it twice in succession. A club with that pedigree deserves a stadium worthy of its legacy and capable of supporting future ambitions. The 52,500-seat City Ground would reposition Forest as one of the Premier League's most distinctive large venues, surpassing grounds like St James's Park in capacity. From a championship strugglers to European competitors with a £130 million stadium vision, Nottingham Forest are properly back. With planning applications submitted in early January 2026 by architects KSS Design Group, the same firm working on Liverpool's Anfield expansion and Leeds United's Elland Road project, construction could genuinely start this summer, pending approval. We're watching history unfold in real time. A 52,500 capacity City Ground would be the largest and most impressive stadium in the East Midlands, a modern fortress on the banks of the River Trent that honours the club's storied past whilst building for an ambitious future. What do you reckon? Will this transform Forest into genuine European regulars capable of challenging for top six? Is Marinakis' personal investment one of the boldest moves by any owner outside the Big Six? Let me know in the comments. If you enjoyed this deep dive into Forest's stadium plans, smash that like button, subscribe for more content on stadium projects across English football, and hit the bell so you don't miss the next video.